Good afternoon, everyone. Treasure Troller here from the partially mask-wearing militant state of Michigan. A couple of things today. Talk about two people, Michael Burry and Tulsi Gabbard. I've been getting a lot of comments about Tulsi, so I really want to just reiterate what I was saying about Tulsi. This first part, I've probably recorded this vlog 5 times and have not posted it. I don't know. I haven't really said it the way I wanted to. So the first part, I'm just going to say it and I'm just going to post this vlog. Maybe it was the very beginning of the week. It must have been the very beginning of the week. I happened to watch a very short segment on Twitch of the Joe Pags show. And he had a young lady on there. Her first name might have been Kim. Her last name was Smythe. S-M-Y-T-H-E. And she's sort of a business independent, I guess, journalist. Does a lot in the area of business, and they were talking about a tweet that Michael Burry put out. Michael Burry. Now, if you're not familiar with Michael, he made millions of dollars in the credit default swap of the mortgages a few years back. He was, for the most part, the main character in the movie The Big Short, or he was played, I think it's Christian Bale played him in the movie The Big Short. A lot of it is based on Michael Burry. Anyways, Michael Burry posted a tweet that he had sold, or he had liquidated his entire stock portfolio and only owns one stock right now. He owns stock in Wackenhut. And Wackenhut is the privatized prisons and I guess behavioral health, if you want to call it that. And so other people were posting about this, and Michael Burry was always sort of the guy that during the movie, one of his things, or his main objective as far as investing, was he looked for value where value could be found. He didn't really it was value that he was looking for. It didn't matter where he found it. If there was value there, that's what he invested in. And a lot of people were a bit curious. Some people even went so far as to say, well, it's because with all these new IRS agents, and they're going to be locking people up for tax fraud and tax evasion. And I did talk to my accountant too. I'll make that another vlog. But anyways, I thought there was a Wackenhut prison over in Baldwin, Michigan. So I did a shallow dive in the deep end, and I went over there Friday morning. This is Saturday. Was it Friday morning? Could have been yesterday morning. And it's a little bit trickier than the camo dudes at Area 51, because they kind of wait for you on the hill and watch you. Well, these guys pull right up next to you in the parking lot. So I had to do a little shuck and jive to try to make my way into the building. Anyways, I was there to apply for a job kind of thing. But as it turns out, that prison is not a Wackenhut. It is GEO. G-E-O. But it is a privatized prison. And I'm going to show you a clip of something that I saw when I first arrived on the property. So I didn't take a picture of it. I did a 5-second clip. I didn't realize I wanted to get out of there because I knew they were watching me. So unfortunately I had it on video. Hopefully I can sort of just overlay the video on top of this video and you can see. So I'll do that right now. So there's a video. Maybe I could even edit it at that point. I don't know. But anyways, it's one of those buses, in case it doesn't work. It's one of those, looks like Greyhound bus, the white Greyhound bus with the tinted windows, you know, kind of like the ones that are arriving in Washington, D.C. and New York right now with the illegal immigrants on board. So that kind of, you know, kind of reminded me of that. And as I was talking to the camo dudes, they were saying, well, we're probably not hiring right now, but around around September, if a couple of weeks, we might be, because they're getting new contracts signed and they'll be back up in operation. They're just, I guess you could say, ending a contract, and they're going to start a new one in September, and the new contract is going to be with Homeland Security. So they are part of the federal prison system, and they're using them as detention centers. So you'll have to decide for yourself if Michael Burry is right or not on this. You can, I guess, do a deep dive into the the asset type thing and the contracts and detaining these people. I know that I'd have to look to see when it was, but I think during Trump's administration, of course, there were protests there. I didn't have to fight my way through a protest line there today, so all's quiet on that front when it comes to putting these detainees in these privatized prisons. That's all quiet right now. But I thought it was rather interesting, so I guess this is a recent stock price of GEO. So it actually, when I was reading the sort of like the ticker or whatever from my stock account on E-Trade, when I looked it up, it had said that Michael Burry had bought GEO stock, but not according to this other Twitter post that Michael Burry. Now, there was a time that Wackenhut owned GEO, so maybe they still do. I don't know. So now we'll get to Tulsi. I had a lot of people commenting on Tulsi, how they don't like Tulsi, how she's not for this, how she's not for that. Well, first, I wasn't using Tulsi as not her as the sort of the perfect pick, but she is sort of in a way. Like I said, we're always talking about votes. We're not talking about certain particular items, gun control, whatever. We're talking about votes. And no one's ever going to like any. There's things about Trump that I don't like. I put it in a vlog before, the age thing. What happens so Trump gets elected and a couple of years into his election, a couple of years into his presidency, he starts having a few mental lapses. Are you just going to ignore them? Or are you going to say, hey, I wanted Biden out, now I want Trump out? So, what about Biden? You left him in, so that's fine. Tulsi, to me, is a little bit different. I said before, the only type of person that can run on the Democratic ticket right now and have any chance of winning is someone that's not in the Biden administration. Because you have to talk bad about the Biden administration. You can't be someone, like I said, like Pete Buttigieg, and be like lockstep, hand in hand with the dementia in chief, and then start criticizing some of the things that he did while you were his transportation secretary. You just can't frickin' do it. Like I said, Andrew Yang must be listening to my podcast, because then he came out. Of course, he was doing an independent thing, but it allows him to be critical of the Democratic Party. Tulsi is the same way. And when I look at Tulsi, when I look at sort of the voting pie, as it were, Tulsi is not liked by the Democratic establishment, which already means I like her. So there's probably 30% of the Democratic Party, the far left, that will raise a stink about Tulsi. But Tulsi can have some pretty moderate views. She's not a big fan of what's going on the border. That alone, they've just came out, and I've said before about the border. You had to run on the border and inflation. Well, Tulsi's already got the border down. Tulsi she didn't like this Inflation Reduction Act. So she's already there in that respect. You're not going to get all the Democrats to go along with the far left agenda. You're just not going to get it. Just like you can't necessarily get all Republicans on board with Donald Trump. They'll probably vote for Donald Trump because their other choice would be, Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. But Tulsi is that outlier. She's been on Tucker. She's not there as some sort of adversarial guest against Tucker. Her and Tucker are in agreement on a lot of things. She's fairly moderate. She's not part of the Biden administration. She is free to be openly critical of them. And not only that, coming out and let's say it is Trump and DeSantis or whatever, and they're going to say, well, we're going to throw you even one better. We're going to, we'd like to bring Tulsi Gabbard on board as well, to show that they're reaching across the aisle. They're appealing to the moderate base of the Democratic Party. So Tulsi, I think, can garner a lot of the Democratic moderate votes. There may be some single issues that Tulsi has a problem with, but Tulsi isn't going to be able to do anything about some of those items. It's just not going to happen. Your only fear might be her pulling a little bit of a Joe Manchin on a couple of things, maybe reaching more on the Democratic side of things. But, that's what happens all the time with the Supreme Court justices. You never get what you expect. I mean, maybe Kavanaugh, Clarence Thomas, you've pretty much gotten what you expect, but Roberts is one particular, trying to make a name for himself. But Tulsi, I really think when you look at it from a political view, and not necessarily as a single view or single item view, I think she's a much stronger, I wouldn't say candidate, but she is a much stronger person to hold a cabinet position. So I don't know if Tulsi's, angling for her own show on Fox, but or she's just looking to stay relevant in politics. But she's been on Tucker. It won't be long before they have her on Gutfeld, and she's probably been on Laura Ingraham, and it wouldn't surprise me if she's been on Sean Hannity. But when she hits Gutfeld, then Democrats got to worry. Democrats have to start worrying. So that's it. The Michael Burry thing is sort of interesting to me. And Tulsi, you have to look at it from a political view and not necessarily from single items kind of thing. Like I said, I really think that she appeals to moderate Republicans, or shall we say non-MAGA. She appeals to them, and she certainly appeals to the moderate Democrat voters out there. So, from a political view, I think she's a good individual to have on your cabinet or in a cabinet position, especially during the after the announcement. So that's my take on Tulsi. It's not single item issues. I think from a political view, I think she would be a very strong person to have in your cabinet. So with that, this is Treasure Troller saying aloha and good day.